Hi guys, and welcome to the channel, and welcome to this tutorial of how to improve your wing foiling in just 10 minutes. Over the years of wing foiling, I have gathered a lot of information of things that have worked for me and things that haven't. Hopefully I can share some of these tips with you and they can make the difference between you being an intermediate to an advanced wing foiler. It opens up a huge amount of opportunity for light wind, going faster, making more maneuvers. The world is truly your oyster if you harness these skills. Like with always, please can you like and subscribe to the channel? Really helps me make more content like this and give you more information. All right, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so my first point is all about ride height. So that is riding really high on your mast, so only a small portion of the mast is in the water. Of course, the mast is a hugely important part of the system. We physically couldn't foil without it, but it does very little in terms of giving lift, giving efficiency. In fact, it draws a lot of efficiency away from the system. So what we want to try and do is eradicate that by keeping the mast out of the water and only introducing a very small section. A great example of where this really works is during the tack. If you stay high on the mast, you have a lot of potential energy to regain if you need to. You can pump away from a bad tack by staying high on the mast, and of course, being high means efficiency. Likewise, in jibes, staying high will give you more glide. That gives you more time. It makes everything much easier. If you stay low on the mast, you're more likely to hit the board, you're more likely to have more drag, your speed will wash off and everything will go wrong. So staying high is critical. Another area where it comes into its own is speed. Look, foil is so much more efficient in that top section as mentioned, less drag, faster through the water. I understand it is very challenging to stay there and it's not always achievable, but in my back of my mind, I'm always thinking stay high on the mast. I tell you where it really comes into its own is when you start downwinding, because if you are not high on your mast, you'll simply create too much drag and you won't be able to pump over bumps. If you can make it a habit that every time you wing foil, you concentrate in the back of your mind, I need to stay high, trust me, you will see massive gains in your wing foiling. You'll be able to stay up when it's super light, you'll be able to go faster, and you'll be able to make more maneuvers. Yes, you will get it wrong a lot. You will breach and you've got to find that limitation. Get somebody to sail behind you and talk about how high they think you are on the mast. Trust me, you will always be lower than you think you are. Okay, top tip number 2 is to keep the runs really short. Try to avoid going for 3, 4, 5 mile runs. Let's just keep it really short, 100 meters, 50 meters, and do lots of maneuvers. That is how I saw my wing foiling increase rapidly in the early stages. This leads me nicely into my third point, which is be focused on your session, or at least have a 20-minute focused session where you're gonna just improve on one section. Go out to the water thinking to yourself, right, today I'm gonna spend 20 minutes just focusing on tacks. Once that's done, put it behind you, go and have fun, go into the waves, do what you need to, but just try and be a little bit disciplined at the start, tick that box, and then move on. You'll see a rapid improvement if you do that on every session. So it can be really difficult to know when you're making mistakes. So the best way of doing it is to have someone record you. In this day and age, everybody's got a smartphone, and the latest ones that are coming out at the moment have got incredible zoom functions. So ask one of your friends just to do a quick 5-minute video of you tacking or jibing. You can return the favor. Trust me, you will gain so much from seeing yourself. I always think I'm a better foiler than I actually am when I see myself on camera, and you can always improve. Self-improvement is really critical because no one else will do it for you. So get someone to record you, play it back, be critical of your mistakes, but learn from them. Okay, the next point I want to talk about is learning to take off using the board. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they're trying to get up in moderate to light winds, is all they do is pump the wing. The key to getting off the water really early is to get separation from the board and the water. And the only way you can do that is by bouncing the board off the water. You will see that downwind suppers are really good at doing this because it's their only option of being able to get onto foil. And when I went down my downwind journey and then started doing lots of winging again, I noticed a massive increase in my lower level, my lower end takeoff ability. It meant that I could take smaller foils, smaller wings and smaller boards and still get up in marginal conditions. The key to it is to have a synchronization between the wing pumping and your board pumping. They have to happen together. And to be honest with you, I would say that it's probably 60-40 in favor of the board pumping to get up onto foil. It will be the difference between you getting up on some sessions and just having a shocker and not being able to get up at all. The next one is all about the foot swap, the foot change. I see too many people sailing upwind in this awkward switch stance. Look, don't get me wrong, there is a time and place for that, particularly if you're wave riding or you're doing lots of maneuvers, as we talked about earlier. But really, if you can get into the habit of foot swaps, it will pay dividends later on. I've talked about this in another video I've done for power winging. Again, this is a critical skill that if you ever want to get into another discipline, you need to know. Start with the basics. Look, I've done a full tutorial on this. I've put the link in the description below, so check that out. But please make sure you take the time and effort to learn how to do this skill. Yes, it will take a bit of time, but it's definitely worth it in the long run. It will make you a much better wing foiler. Okay, so now I want to talk about blaming gear. And I have to say, I'm going to put my hand up. I am one of the first people to do that. And I have to tell myself, it's not the gear, it's yourself. Blaming gear for you making mistakes or not getting up or having a bad session is only going to have a negative impact. I see too many times people doing this off the water, and then another guy will come in who's just smashed the session and he's on 3-year-old gear and made it look really easy. Yes, there will be extreme cases where it could be a hindrance, but in this day and age, there's so much good gear out at the moment. Really, the error lies within, not externally. It's really important because it's also a mindset change that you need to have as well. Master the gear you're on before upgrading. It's not always about the newest bit of gear. It's all about taking ownership and understanding that having that mindset will definitely hold you back from improving and trying new things. Okay, the last point I want to talk about is utilizing the community, utilizing the people around you. It's so important to ask for help if you're struggling with something. The foiling community is amazing. If you ask anybody on the beach if you could help explain something or help describe how to do maneuver, they will sit with you for ages and talk it through. The best bit about this is that they will give you bespoke advice. It's all well and good looking on YouTube and the internet for solutions, much like this video, but it's very difficult to give an individual bespoke advice depending on their level, their weight, their size, the gear they're using. Whereas one of your friends on the beach or somebody you've just met, they will understand it a lot better given the conditions. This is probably the best bit of advice I could give to somebody, is to stop, eat some humble pie and ask for help. It's an amazing environment we're in, so please take advantage of it. What's more, don't just ask one person, ask lots of people, because it might just be one little nugget that somebody has used in the previous session that is the one that resonates with you, and I have found that. So just ask around, share the knowledge, share the love, and we'll all get better together. That all sounds a bit lovey-dovey, hippie, but trust me, it really does work. Right, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've got something out of it. Like with always, if you've got any questions, type away below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Looking forward to seeing you on the water again soon.